Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you subscribe to our Dreamerspro Short Clips channel that we have linked in the description below. We're releasing interesting content on there. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. As y'all know, there was a pretty big game last night. Doubleheader. The first game wasn't so interesting. It looks like the Heat are going to win that series. But the second game between the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers, I believe, was the most intriguing matchup of the night. Certainly it was for me, right? That was the game I was most interested in seeing just because of the star power and the storylines involved there, right? So I watched the game. The Warriors were pretty competitive all the way to the end. Then they made some pretty boneheaded plays toward the end of that game. Stephen Curry took a very ill-advised three-point shot. I don't know why they didn't try to get another thing, but then again, that's Stephen Curry. You can't really question the guy. He took a shot that really wasn't a good one. Draymond Green made a turnover that only him and God knows what he was thinking when he made that turnover. And then, of course, it was a jump ball. Steph went up for the ball, and then he just kind of threw the ball out of bounds. I don't know what happened, right? I don't know. I think he was trying to throw it to his teammate. So, nevertheless, the Lakers ended up being victorious in that game. And ironically, coming into this series, I actually thought that the Lakers were going to lose this series in 6 games. I thought that the Golden State Warriors were going to be victorious in this matchup, but they found a way to really guard Stephen Curry and these guys. And one of them is just actually having some good defenders on him. Number 2 is having a great game plan. And number 3 is also forcing them to work on the defensive side of the floor by attacking them. Right? You saw D'Angelo Russell and others doing this all series long. Now, at the end of the game, during the post-game, breakdown on TNT with Shaq, Kenny, Ernie, and Charles Barkley, Shaq went out there and made a pretty shocking prediction about how he sees this series potentially playing out moving forward. But before we get into Shaq's comments, this video is brought to you by sponsor Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the T-Wolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what Shaq had to say here about what he thinks the Warriors' chances are moving forward. And then we'll come back and react to his comments. So take a listen to what Shaq had to say there.
In 9 years under Steve Kerr, the Warriors are 19-0 against teams from the West in the playoffs. Last time they were down 3-1. 16 Western Conference Finals, came back to beat OKC. Now they're down 3-1 to the Lakers, going home for Game 5. What are their chances?
Oh, it's still great.
Oh, their chances are great?
Yes, the chances are great. And Chuck wouldn't know this. He over there giggling and laughing, but you're going up against the champs. You got to put the champs away. Champs ain't going to lay down. This ain't Memphis. The champs ain't going to lay down. Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in our game, missed those last 2 shots. You don't think he's going to be pissed off? And he's a dog. When dogs get pissed off, they come ready to play the next game. They're probably over there saying, you know what? Remember when we had them 3-1, they came back? Now it's our chance to get LeBron back. They still have a chance. They have to go home, they have to play well, and they will play well. And the Lakers, Even though they're up 3-1, they've still been up and down. We talk about how great AD has to be. He only had 4 points in the second half. If it wasn't for Lonnie Walker the fourth, it'd probably be tied. But
perhaps I should have rephrased that for, chances to win the series. Not, obviously chances in Game 5 when you go back home. I'm with you.
You have to put the champs away. They're not going to lay down like that. Even though they're down 3-1, they're not worried. Kenny knows this.
I would have to agree in this respect with Shaq.
But you got to put them away.
Because you're not going on the road for Game 5. You're coming back with the recipe of success, meaning Charles said it, you said it. They said, "Oh, we're going to play we're going to run the Lakers. We're going to insert DiVincenzo. We're going to insert Gary Payton II in the starting lineup. We're going to go smaller, and we're going to make our older guys, Draymond, Clay, and Steph, basically be on a track. When you're running straight on a track, it's much easier than stop, go, hesitate. They're just running straight up and down, Steph Curry and them. So there's a different energy, and I do think that they had a recipe set. I'm not going to be surprised to see a Game 6. Now AD, alternating games, we'll see. I don't know if is that a good game on Game 6, or is that a bad game on Game 6?
Odd numbers are his best ones.
Well, they're cooked.
Cooked as in cooked.
Yeah, this series is
Guaranteed.
over. Whether in 5 or 6, 5 or 6, it's over. I think the Lakers did a fabulous job of making Clay and Steph work.
So you heard Shaq's comments. Here are my thoughts. There's precedent for what Shaq's saying. There have been teams that have blown 3-1 leads and teams that have come back. I can speak for one right here as a Clipper supporter, Kawhi supporter, who those guys went up 3-1 against the Denver Nuggets in the 2020 playoffs. Up 3-1, and then they ended up losing the next 3 games, totally melting down. And a lot of that was Paul George. Paul George was just terrible. And then Kawhi, and both Paul George and Kawhi were terrible in Game 7. Boom, you have a meltdown. Number 2, I think the Golden State Warriors were down. The same Stephen Curry was down 3-1 to Kevin Durant's Oklahoma City Thunder team, I believe, in the Western Conference Finals. And they came back and won that series. That's another team. Then, of course, you have LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and these guys coming back and winning that game, that series against the Golden State Warriors, where they were down 3-1, and they came back and won this series. So we're not talking about something that's impossible here. However, what we're talking about is something that's highly improbable, highly unlikely of happening, because for you to go out and win 3 games in a row against a team beat you 3 out of the last 4 times you played them, is no short order. It's a very tall task, right? It's very, very difficult, very, very difficult, but because the Lakers have all the momentum on their side. Number 2, they have a very, very experienced player in LeBron James that will most likely have his teammates ready. So it's not like just going to be one of these things where a team just collapses along the way, right? I don't think these guys are going to beat themselves. I think the Warriors are actually going to have to go out there and beat the Lakers, and that's a very, very tall order. So for Shaq to say that he believes that the Warriors should not panic, he believes that they're still in this series, he believes that they can still come back and win this series. There's nothing to panic over. That's a pretty bold prediction. A very, very bold prediction given all the information that we have right now and what we just witnessed over the last week or so. But Shaq believes that the Golden State Warriors can still come back and win this series. And my response is we have to wait and see. So what I want to know from you guys is, how realistic do you think it is for the Golden State Warriors to come back and win this series? And the question is, if you think the Warriors will win this series, leave a yes in the comment section. If you think it's no, leave a no. Catch you guys on the next show. Peace.